this lesson, we talk about website ownership, but in many cases, and this might surprise you, you don't really own all the pieces of your website.
Surprising, right? We use the term own because it's the best way to describe your responsibility for your website as a whole. Not all websites are the same, so the nature of what you own will vary based on your agreement with the website developer, what was used to build the website, and other features and functions that make your website unique.
As we move through this lesson and others, there is a resource for you to use to keep track of all the points discussed. Pretty handy, right? Take the Ethical Business Standards resource and begin to formulate what practices you will implement in your business based on points brought up in these lessons. And it will also help outline these as questions for your contractors or internal staff.
So for domain names, it's all about who purchased the domain name and retains control of it, and their domain registrar account. To put it simply, the domain needs to be registered in your name or your business name.
Okay, but how do you know if it's you leasing the domain name?
Well, if you purchase the domain name and you see it active in your account, like at GoDaddy.com, then you are the one with the rights to that domain. Granting a web developer access to your account to help you modify your domain records does not give them any ability to transfer the rights of the domain name to themselves. However, it's wise to use delegated access feature, which we will discuss in a future lesson.
So if you can't remember if you purchased your domain, or let's say you can't remember where you purchased it from, then visit whois.com for some clues. Domain privacy may prevent you from seeing other details, but at the very least, you should recognize the domain registrar and the date it was registered or renewed. Let's hope. And then you can search your emails for a purchase receipt or call the domain registrar.
And as the website owner, you should be the one leasing your domain name. If someone else is paying the renewals for your domain name, failure to pay will remove the domain from your website. Work to get it transferred to an account that shows it's registered in your name.
Now when it comes to the actual website, you need to be careful in assuming you own all the pieces of your website outright.
The most common scenario is that the web hosts own the server the website is on, the creator owns the design and code, and you own the content. But I must mention there are many exceptions to this very broad statement.
Well then, let's begin with the pieces that someone typically does not own, keeping in mind that it depends on who created the website and their agreement with its creator.
Generally, if you've hired a website designer or developer and didn't create the website in-house with your own staff, it is dangerous to assume that you own the design of the website or code. Typically, the code frameworks are owned by the creators and the website professionals are leasing the code by using it. This is the same with design if the template is used. The original creator of the design template owns it.
And this is because in the United States, copyright law, for example, creators are presumed to own the copyright in the works they create.
That's right. If you used a website builder, then you still need to presume you do not own the copyright, since website builders are like designers and developers, supplying you a design they created with code they own.
There are some web firms that retain ownership of your website and do not include in contracts a transfer or copyright.
Even if you find in your contract a transfer of the copyright in certain elements, assuming you can then clone additional websites with the code, design, copy, and images becomes a question of ethics.
And keep in mind, to duplicate and then distribute a website is unethical and potentially illegal if you are not the original creator or properly leasing the rights to the software or design. Unless the agreement with the creator was that you would then duplicate the website yourself or sell the website, it's unfair to the creator, let alone maybe violating copyright law for other elements on the website.
What you should have, however, is a copy of your website files, images, and copy. If your contract includes a transfer of rights for graphics like logos, make sure you have the original files of those graphics.
Yeah, and as Neely mentioned earlier, unless you have your own web server, you likely don't own your hosting. And if your website uses a database, you don't even own the database where your website's information is stored.
That's right. Some website professionals will host the website for you as included in a support package. The only concern to not having full access or control of a hosting account is if you don't have a full backup of your website files.
So then what do you own regarding your website?
Well, depending on how the content was created or licensed, which we will discuss in the next lesson, you may own all the photographs, images, text, user data, and other information and data collected from your website visitors.
So it seems the main use of the word website owner in this case may be better restated as the person responsible, even though all these pieces have copyright assigned to various creators and businesses. The fact is that the website presence is under your name and business as stated in your privacy policy or website copyright. So you are responsible for that website, how it collects data, how it shares data, and if the elements on the website are violating copyright laws.
Yeah, and it's important that you understand the contracts you have with the creators, the elements included in your website, and that you have control to access all important elements. All in all, it is not necessary that you own the copyright to every material on your website. Leasing or having implied use can be enough for most businesses.
That makes sense. Paying attention to these limitations is more about making sure someone has the ownership they need, the access they should have, and an understanding of where they are responsible.